How's it going, everyone? So, as you all know, Cypher is currently the weakest agent in Valorant, and in this video, I'll be sharing my own suggestions that I thought of to buff Cypher. Now, these ideas are things that I thought of, and not something said will do. So, please take it with a grain of salt. These are just my suggestions and my ideas to buff Cyphers that I thought of. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So, as you all know, Cypher's kit contains the tripwires, cages, Spycam has ultimate neural theft, and I'll be going over a few ways to buff them. So without further ado, let's start with the Cypher Strip. So the first thing to do to buff Cypher Strip is the Razor's Boombot, Sova's Aldrone, Sky's Trailblazer, and Fid's Prowlers cannot trigger his strips, except the Euro clone, because the clone already triggers the other Sentinel utilities such as Killjoy's Turret, Alarmbot, and Chamber's trademark, so it would not be fair. However, Fid's Prowlers are the worst because they can trigger the trip no matter how high you need to place the trip in order for the enemy to reach and trigger it. Like, no matter how high you place the trip, at the leg level or head level while standing or while crouching, Fid's Prowler will always trigger the trip, and that's why it's so annoying. Next up, allies utilities cannot destroy Cypher Strip, such as Brimstone's ultimate, or Breach's Aftershock, or Raze's satchels and grenade, and Silver Shock darts, etc. And they have the ability to place the chips further from each other, and able to stretch them more to cover more space. The trip can cost its enemy for longer than 3 seconds. Enemy's distance needs to be closer to the chip in order to be able to see it without triggering it. Trip takes less time to be ready after placing them. Trips stay active even if Cypher is dead, or the trip may get disabled about Cypher's death, but do not accurate field because, as we all know, in order for Cypher to be unpredictable, they should not know how he sets his tripwires. So if he dies and they see his trips, they may pre-fire their location next time. And in my opinion, the best way to buff his trip is to make it so he can place both ends of the trip too close to each other instead of only face to face. Such as these examples, like the first one with the X mark is how you currently place the Cypher trip. So instead of that, make it so you can place it both ends of the trip like this, or like this, or this. Next up, his cages. So to buff it, how about we can make it not hollow from the top, so whatever is inside can hide from like the Fade's eye or Sova's recon, so he can easily lurk or do other good plays. And the ability to throw the cages even further, like maybe that's kinda ridiculous, but that's what I thought of. And finally, able to pick up the cages during rounds and not only during the buy phase, because it's very annoying having to place the cages, and not be able to pick them up after the buy phase. Next up, Cypher's spy cam. So, as we all know, Cypher's spy cam can just get one shot no matter which gun you have. So how about we make it give the cam more health so it doesn't get one shot and needs more shot to be destroyed, such as Killjoy's turret and Chamber's trademark. Turn down the volume of the camera when you get into it or use it because it's very loud and the enemy can easily hear if Cypher is in his cam or not. Take less time to disappear after getting off the cam because even if the enemy did not look at the cam when you're in it, he can still see it slowly fades away. This will make it harder to spot it. Next up, can place the cam further than how far he can currently place it. So currently he can only place his camera about 20 meters. So maybe we can increase the range. Just my suggestions. Next up, ability to place the cam on floors and roofs. Like we can only place it on vertical walls, so maybe we can place it on horizontal roofs and floors. Next up, maybe add more spots to where he can place his cam, such as higher spots or outside the map. But of course not in ridiculous and broken spots because that would be broken. Next up, the cam tags the enemies more. So as you all know, the cam pings the enemy once per second, and even though it does the job, like it's just not as good. Next up, the cam pings enemies just like the way Sova's recon or owl drone instead of a single frame. Like basically, if you attack someone with the cam, it does more pings like this. And finally, enemies take longer to remove the dart when they get attacked by the cam. And last but not least, Cypher's neural theft. So as we all know, his neural theft, when you use it on an enemy, when you use it on a dead body, it pings all enemies' location. However, the problem is it only pings them for a single frame, and by the time like 5 seconds or 3 seconds passes, like they have already gone somewhere else far. So how about we make it so the ultimate can ping more people, like the Owl Drone or Osoba's Recon, like. Basically, when you use the ultimate on a dead body, it pings twice like this. Next up, the Cypher ult takes less time to reveal the enemy's location, and last but not least, the ability to use the ult on a dead body from further range, because you have to be very close to the body in order to use his ultimate. So maybe we can make it so he can use the ultimate on a dead body from a further range. And that's about it. Now, please, I know all I said, if Riot adds all of these ideas, Cypher will instantly become the most overpowered agent. So, all the ideas I said are just suggestions, and maybe they can take a few or some. And that's about it. And I hope you all enjoyed this video. And tell me in the comments or on my Twitter your thoughts about my ideas. Or I would love to hear your opinion. And that's about it. See you.